TradeSquare is Australia's first business-to-business marketplace connecting people, brands and organisations into this diverse ecosystem in a unique global landscape. Through pivoting, transforming and reshaping, Australian businesses have an opportunity to create the model for the future that aligns with the world's needs and leveraging the power of a collaborative approach. Through the TradeSquare podcast, we will bring together dynamic, diverse and thought-provoking leaders from business, government and organisations to have conversations to further enable new thinking for the future. Welcome to TradeSquare, Australia's leading B2B marketplace designed to enable small business growth through digital capabilities. I'm Catherine Vandermeulen, and our guest today on the TradeSquare podcast is John Todd, Executive Officer at Western Sydney Business Centre. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Kath, for having me on today. It's a pleasure.
And listen, tell us, who is John Todd in his many life roles?
God, that's a hard one. Well, I suppose I'm a local person that's been involved in this area for all my life. I've lived in our catchment area since I was born. I've also lived and worked here for all but about 6 years of my working life, and I'm basically just passionate about helping small business.
And so tell me more about your role at Western Sydney Business Centre.
Okay, would you like me to give a bit of a background of how I got here?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, I used to work for Westpac Banking Corporation. I did over 20 years there, and I got this phone call one day from the personnel department to say, "Would you like to come in for an interview? We want to interview for a job." And these were the jobs that they put people out into what they termed the real world to get used to dealing with business, so they could progress these individuals on. So they asked me if I'd like to come out to the Western Sydney Business Centre and spend 18 months on secondment to learn what it's like to run a small business, me operating it and giving advice to businesses as well. So I took on that role. At the end of my 18 months, the bank decided they wouldn't continue that process, and I had a decision to make whether I would stay or go, and eventually I made a decision to stay and haven't looked back, and I've been here for 30 years now.
Wow, that is definitely a long stint in the business world these days, John.
It is, yes. It's not many people you see hang around for that long in one particular job these days, but I've been here and I'll be here until I retire if the board don't get rid of me in the meantime, which I don't think they will. But everything's going smoothly at the moment, and it's just a matter of keeping everything, all the contracts going, and there won't be any issues.
And so tell me, how are small businesses from 2020 and 2021 really creating more value in the world?
Well, it's been, I suppose, during COVID, it just turned the whole world upside down, and especially us here at the Western Sydney Business Centre, we're doing a lot of face-to-face interviews and workshops, small business workshops, and this just hit us overnight with a bang, and like it did everybody else. And we had ourselves here had to reinvent ourselves to a certain degree and go away from the face-to-face aspect of the role, and the businesses were the same, and it was just an eye opener to everybody. But I've got to say that it's changed the way we do things. It's changed the way our clients do things. And I think the businesses that we now deal with have got more used to technology than they ever did before. Even I did too. Look, I worked at home for 2 or 3 months, and like the things I've learned that I didn't know before, that I had to learn to operate from home. The small businesses are like that, and I think now the businesses understand the digital world a lot better. Although I got to say that I'm not going to tell you where I know this from, but there was a government department did some research on some business the other day, and they still don't embrace technology. They just don't want to do it for some reason or not. I don't know, but that's our role now, to try and convert all those businesses over to the digital world. They're creating more value now in the world because the ones that are embracing digital are now open to the world although at the moment trying to get products from overseas and sending products overseas is a challenge in itself because nobody's doing it and everything's taking so long to come in. I ordered something the other day from America and it took 5.5 weeks to turn up. So that's just the lag, the docks and everything now because of COVID situations.
And what do you think some of those barriers might be in, those organisations really not embracing the digital world?
I think it comes down to a bit like myself when I first started doing all this stuff from home. That it's the fear of the unknown, and they don't really. Whilst they'll come and participate and they'll listen and say, yeah, that's good, but when they go back into their own world, they tend to get a bit scared and they don't want to do it. And I think, it's our job to do that, but we found that most of the businesses want to do it themselves. They don't want us coming in there and telling them what to do. We can explain what to do, and it's up to them to pick up what they want to do in the end. And this survey that was just done by the federal government, it's like it still shows that 40% of them don't want to embrace digital.
There's some pretty big numbers. Yeah. So thinking about, the individuals that you have seen and whether that's small businesses or advisors in your network, how have resilient, dynamic and resourceful people really played a key role in working towards transforming Australian businesses?
Well, I think I've got to hand it to my advisors. They've really excelled in the last 12 months under the COVID, and they've obviously been able to do a lot more because of you're doing your meetings by Zoom or Skype or whatever, and they obviously can spend a lot more time than driving around because we're a mobile service with our programs, and when you don't have to drive around, that creates a lot more opportunities than days. So some people are doing 5 and 6 appointments a day, which is they couldn't do that before because of the travelling distance. So I think with the advisors, what they're doing with businesses now is just unbelievable. The feedback we get from the clients of how we've helped them transform those ones that want to transform to digital is exceptional. We're getting feedback now from businesses that we haven't had any negative feedback for about 8 months now. Not one comment. So obviously what the advisors are doing is working, and people and the businesses are taking advantage of that now. There's a lot of businesses around that are doing stuff digitally now that weren't doing it before. But as I said, there's still a lot that aren't doing digital and should be doing it.
And so thinking about something that you are truly passionate about, what's a key message that you are championing to the Australian federal government where you see there's opportunity for change?
Well, in my role, I'm also chair of Business Enterprise Centres Australia, which we're a member, and we've got 60 representative centres all around Australia. So I don't know if there's any further key message I need to give the federal government. I think they know my views on just about everything under the sun. But I suppose continuing to help small business and also providing assistance to them during these tough times is paramount. And I know they're doing that now, and I think they've got to continue to do that to a certain degree. I also see a lot of people, not really doing what they should be doing with JobKeeper. And a few of those are taking advantage of it. I can see both sides. People are saying it should stay for, after March, or it should go. I can see both avenues there. But I've had a lot of, and I've conveyed this to the Minister Cash, that my advisors are seeing that people would rather, go on job seeker because of the extra money rather than do work. And they've just been saying to their employers, that they just want to go on that and they don't want to work for the time being. So that's been portrayed, and that's probably why they've wound back a lot of this stuff, because that's pretty widespread. So I think, assistance to small business, which they are doing, and I know for a fact they are, because there's things that are going to still be announced, and I think that's the main thing that the government needs to look at the moment.
And how are you seeing Australian businesses really bridge that gap between the physical world that you spoke about before and that digital. We've kind of been using the term phygital to really kind of create the growth in their organization. You know, it was always very much a physical SMB, but obviously then the combination of the digital world.
Yeah, interesting question. I think obviously when people run a small business, the majority of them look for the physical side of things. You know, they don't worry about digital too much. When a shopkeeper opens up in a main shopping strip or something, they're not talking about digital. They're talking about physical people coming into their shops and that kind of thing. So getting people used to dealing on the internet is a bit of a challenge and still is. For example, I think, you know, in Penrith here, for example, where I'm based, you know, the main shopping mall, there's a local CBD corporation here that has to do manual newsletters still because half of them haven't even got PCs that they can send an email to them with their newsletters. So that's how bad it is in a lot of the retail shops, you know, especially the littler ones that don't have the backup and support. And so that's where we come in. I don't know the answer to it. Look, I've known, you know, the problem here with our main street for must be going back 15 years, and nothing's got any better. And I don't think it will, because some business owners just do not want to do it. Simple as that. They don't want to do it. But we've gone in there now with our digital program through the Australian Small Business Advisory Service, the Digital Solutions program with the federal government, and we're providing that free at the moment, that support, and at least up until June. And you know, we just go in there and try and get them to do it, but in the end, it's up to the individual, the business owner.
And so what are some of the hot topics around the boardroom table at the moment at WS Business?
Hot topics? Meet our contract numbers. Well, we don't look. We're not having any trouble. It's more of we're doing too much at the moment, believe it or not, because even with our Business Connect contract in New South Wales, we're way over what we should be, which is good. You'd rather be way over than under with your hours, but at the moment, so many businesses out there need assistance and still needing assistance. We're getting to the stage now where we're using up all our hours, and yeah, we've only got until June before they reset again. So it's really interesting at the moment how we're going to handle this. The federal government have just decided that to increase our contract for the digital one, and we've had our numbers sort of multiplied by 4 than what we did yearly before. And I have with that program, I'm the lead contractor here, and we look after the whole of New South Wales and ACT, and I've got 7 business enterprise centres or BECs that partner with me in that process. So we've gone from doing, you know, about 1,300 a year to 4,200 in about 8 months.
So what are some of the pain points of Australian businesses that you are really supporting with education and further capabilities?
Okay, well, at the moment with both programs, we're providing all the services for small business workshops. We do 2-hour workshops, obviously majority, well 99% by webinar. We're providing those free, and there's a range of topics, you know, from digital to just normal everyday business information. Just to give you an idea, just our office here, I was just looking at a little while ago, in the last 12 months, we did 110 of those to 3,600 businesses. So they're getting the advantage of COVID at the moment, the webinar, then people can do it at home rather than coming in face to face. And I'll probably actually continue with webinars even when we're allowed to go back to face, because I think it's just easier for people to do them. Unfortunately, there's some people who are doing too many and probably getting too confused because they're just looking into everything that's online. And and you have, obviously with workshops and training, you have different presenters and different views, and that just confuses the situation a little bit too, because what they should do is after they've gone to the workshop, they should follow up with an advisor and talk to them one-on-one about their individual needs, because, you know, as you know, webinars are pretty general, and, you know, to get that information that you need, particularly for your business, you know, you should talk to an advisor afterwards. But as I said, we're providing those free of charge and just letting anybody that wants to participate we let them.
And I guess it's about possibly taking a bit more of a strategic approach, because I have heard a lot of small businesses last year going into that state of overwhelm when there's so many different things to consider, but then really, breaking those down into bite-sized chunks. And as you said, speaking to an advisor to actually what is the best solution for their business to really carry them forward.
Exactly, because they could pick up on something that mightn't even apply to them and suddenly wonder why it's not working. So we follow up all our people. Everybody that goes through a webinar with us or a workshop, we follow up with them afterwards and offer them our services, which I said are free. And we have about a 30%, 40% take up rate with that, with the follow ups.
What do you think economic freedom looks like in Australia in 2021 for small businesses?
I don't know.
It's a big question, I know.
The way things are going. I mean, I just heard the Prime Minister say this morning you can't see overseas travel until next year. So I don't know. I don't know economic freedom. Like it all depends on COVID, doesn't it? And what the transmitting of the disease is, and how much freedom we get to go, to travel around and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I wouldn't have a clue. Like it could be anything. I thought just when we were over it, when we came back, and then you just had recently all those other clusters in New South Wales, and I don't know. I just think the thing's going to be hopping around for 12 months, and we're going to see ups and downs, and it's just common practice now to carry a mask with you. And then I went down to the shopping centre the other day and I put my mask in my pocket when I left the car, and I forgot to put it on when I walked in the supermarket, and I'm getting all these people looking at me and, well, what am I doing wrong? So I don't know where it's going to lead. I just hope things get back to some kind of normality in the second half of this year, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
And so finally, what are the digital capabilities that you think are mandatory to withstand our next stage of the business life cycle?
Look, I think number one, you'd be surprised at how many people don't have an online presence or even a website. You can do websites pretty cheaply, and they don't cost a lot, as long as you keep updating them afterwards, which is imperative. But I think businesses just need to enhance their digital capabilities to make them more visible to buyers. Like surely waiting for a person to walk through your front door as opposed to someone seeing you online is going to be beneficial to you. So I just think they've got to just get their presence there and get their websites and their Facebook page and their Instagram, all that kind of stuff, all of that. So I think that's important in the future.
So what I'm hearing is it's really going back to those basic fundamentals of digital capabilities. It's nothing, extravagant software or huge integration plans, but more about those basic and fundamental things that we need for those digital capabilities to carry us forward.
Yeah, exactly, because it's basically, as you said, it's not expensive what you need to do, but once you've got it, it makes a hell of a difference. Like you just look at us putting, webinars up. We're around the peak time. We were doing with Zoom, and we had 100 people licensed, and we were exceeding that. We had to take the increased one just to cover the people that were going through the webinars. And they all found those online. They didn't look in any particular way. They just found them online somehow. And I think that's what the business has got to embrace. They've got to get into the digital world, because that's going to be the future. It doesn't matter what anybody says. The digital world is the future, and they've got to embrace
that. And I love your final word of embracing those digital capabilities for the future. So thank you, John, for sharing your world with TradeSquare. For more information on TradeSquare, head to www.tradesquare.com.au and support Australian business economic recovery and growth with a collaborative approach to the future of business.